Call the meeting to order. We'll start with our brief land acknowledgement to acknowledge the Indigenous people and ancestors whose lands we now share. Move on to 2.0, adoption of the agenda. There was 2 additions on there. I'd like to add one more under under 6.1.1 G. Yes, please. We'll put request for councillor leave of absence. Any other additions?
611H for our family award.
Is that not already on there?
No.
Sorry, where was that going?
I just put it under, council. But I was able to show up, so it was me to review.
Council under.
Yeah, well, I just.
So 6.6.3B. Family. Ward. Okay. Nothing else? Get a motion to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, could I just get the deletion?
Oh,
The
I see that.
RFD grader?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can explain that later.
So go to second page, 6.3.1, item B. We'll grade the purchase report, we'll delete. Supposed to make the agenda longer, not shorter. By 11 o'clock. Okay, so we can have additions and deletion. Get a motion. Councillor Thiessen, all in favor? Carried. Minutes from February 24th. We review, any discussion arising or any corrections? So that'll get a motion. Councillor Reese, all in favor? Okay, we have 2 delegations. One is, just walked in, I didn't see you. So if you wouldn't mind coming on up to the delegation table. Welcome. Good morning.
Morning.
So how about we introduce ourselves to you, we've met Lacey before, but we haven't met you yet, and then you introduce yourselves and then we can do your presentation. So I'll start with my far left.
Hi, Caitlin Sugar, represent Ward 2, Warrensville, Lockford, also way itself in the county.
Eric Hayes, Ward 1.
And since Ward 3, Dixonville, Sherwood. Where you get to those 5 or 7, 18 places.
Terry Ungarian, Hotchkiss Hot Hills, is down here.
And I'm gonna sticking on the CAO. Good morning.
Good morning, I'm Teresa Tupper, Executive Assistant to the Recording Secretary.
Grant Reese did with Sunny Valley. We met one from town. Good to see you today.
And Councillor Halibisky is absent. She represents furthest northward, Keg River, Carcajou. And we have another administration in
Charles
your
Schwab, Director of Public Works. It's a nice morning.
So we'll turn it over.
Well, good morning. Well, I'll start off. My name's Gavin Owl. I'm the new detachment commander for the Manning Detachment, and I want to thank you all for introducing yourselves and welcoming us this morning. And yeah, you know Lacey, Staff Sergeant Lacey Blair.
From Peace River.
Yeah. Just a little bit about myself. Obviously, I've been in Manning just over a month now, actually. My service started in Nunavut with the RCMP, and then I bounced around Alberta. My last post was Grand Prairie for the last several years, running the community engagement diversity unit there. So I was really excited to be able to come to this area in Manning to go back to that sort of small town detachment commander work, and really excited to be here today.
Pleased to have you. Welcome. So what part of Nunavut were you in?
Rankin Inlet. Yeah.
Really remote.
Yeah. It's funny, whenever we're there, everything else is down south. And so I'm like, oh, I'm going down south to Manning. I'm like, well, I don't know if that works that way, but I'll take it. No worries. Well, I'd like to present, unless there's any other questions before we get going.
No, I think we can save the questions for later.
We'll grill us after.
Yeah, perfect. Well, good morning again. So obviously you have had disseminated the stats for Q3 for the Manning Provincial Detachment, which includes the County and Northern Lights. The first thing I want to do is just echo what our commanding officer, Trevor Giroux, has said, that moving forward, and we're looking at close collaboration with municipal and community partners. With the RCMP, we're able to leverage our specialized units and resources. And we're really looking at moving forward, especially here in Manning, to make sure that our members out and about by leveraging our administrative resources to make sure our members have more time on the road. We're really looking forward to keep on establishing and building upon our strong community ties and make sure that we're able to address the priorities that our residents and the community that we serve tell us that need addressing. So when looking at the actual stats for Q3, there's a couple stats I'd like to highlight. Obviously, there's some increases in break and enter and our theft under compared to this time last year. Those kind of stats, in my experience, are nothing that are out of the ordinary in terms of it could be one or two prolific offenders coming through the area that can really bump up those stats, but something that we are keeping our eye on. Another point of interest was I'm really happy to see a huge increase in suspicious persons and suspicious vehicles that were reported and went from 5 to 14 from last year to this year. And the reason why, just to reiterate why I think that's a good thing, is as a rural detachment, it's really important that we have the trust of the community so that when something is not right, when something is suspicious, that they call us and we actually go there, and the community trusts that we'll go there and trust that we'll respond back to them. Because I'll be the first one to admit it, in a small town like Manning, I don't know the community as well as everyone here and the county. So I don't know if driving past somewhere that's normal or if that's someone's truck that's not supposed to be there or situation that maybe needs some more further attention. So I really love that. And I really want to make sure that we continue on that work to build a relationship with our community so they trust us to call us, to know that it's not a bother. We want those calls. We want people to reach out to us. And the fact that we can actually deliver that service delivery by responding and making sure that things are okay. In terms of the stats for the detachment for the fiscal year, as noted before, there was only several violations and 13 warnings. Continuing on, traffic and community engagement are our two main priorities for the provincial detachment. Moving forward into the new fiscal year, we're transitioning from what's known as annual performance plan or APP to a community performance plan. And so with the draft of that, we sent out this week for review and consultation with everyone here to make sure that we're hitting the marks for how we basically measure our progress and that it's what you as the community expects of us as police. So that's will be forthcoming this week, but I want to mention that the two priorities for that as well will be traffic and traffic safety and community engagement and outreach. For our members, for Q3, they did a lot of festivities with Halloween, Remembrance Day, Christmas, a lot of presentations at the school, as well as participating in the Food for Thought program. One thing I do want to say is that since my time here, and it's only been a month, I'm really looking forward to establishing a much stronger tie with our schools, with our youth. That was a huge focus of mine in Grand Prairie. And I've already had a consultation with both the administration of both schools in Manning to see how we can better support the school and what they need to do to educate our children, but also to work together to protect them, to avoid stuff where they're going into bullying or avoid stuff where they're going into some less desirable behavior and how we can deal with that before it becomes to the realm of criminality. So we're looking at that kind of ideally restorative justice, but at least mentorship and involvement at the lowest level, which is usually at the school level and the parents, rather than bringing things to a police detachment arrest level. And the final note, we are fully staffed at the detachment, which is nice to hear and nice to say as the RCMP detachment commander. Obviously, with me arriving last month, we're a sergeant corporal and 4 constables, as well as 2 PSs for the complement of our detachment. So that's my report that I'd like to submit.
So we say yourself, sergeant, corporal, and 4 constables?
Yes,
Nice. And 2,
to public servants.
right?
Yeah.
The council, any questions?
So I know that we had a rural crime watch meeting scheduled for like last Monday and the weather kiboshed it, but that was one thing that we really struggled with, trying to get Manning into the fold with the rural crime watch just because of the turnover in staff and stuff. So maybe if you could keep that in prayer, it'd be really nice to have you.
No, I appreciate that. And I was actually intending to go along with my colleague here. And I understand that Manning Detachment has had a challenge with stability and challenge with that kind of relationship building at the highest level. And what I can say is that is something I'm very passionate about, is to be able to have that relationship with all of our community partners. So yes, I will be attending all of those meetings. And I would also encourage that if anyone would like to have a talk formally, informally, I will always make time for that, for not just everyone here, but anyone else in the community.
I don't know, Lacey, maybe if you could just explain like how the member numbers break out, the Peace River, like what's designated for the town. I think it'll be valuable for council to hear that.
I definitely could. So I'm Lacey from Peace River. Obviously, we have a little bit different than Manning. We're not as wonderful to be fully staffed, but we're trying to get there. We're a little bit bigger detachment, obviously. So in total, the Peace River detachment in total with everybody, including myself, 30 members strong. That's what we're supposed to be at. We have recently lost 2 that are deciding to depart the RCMP for another policing organization. So that brings our numbers down a little bit. But the way that everything is split up is we have 12 members that are funded by the town of Peace River, technically 11.5 funded by the town, 0.5 funded by Northern Sunrise County. And then we have 13 provincial members, and then we have 5 Indigenous policing members, and those are for Duncan's First Nation and Woodland Cree First Nations. Now, it doesn't matter if a call comes in the town of Peace River, do only town members respond? Absolutely not. If you're working and you're in the vicinity, you're going to respond to a call. We don't draw those hard lines of, I'm only a provincial member, I only respond to calls on the province side. There's no such thing, and I just want to kind of kibosh that now. If a call comes in, all members are responding. Obviously, if something big, a big event happens, we pull in other detachments, Red Earth Creek, Manning, Fairview, we pull other detachments to come and assist us as well. So we don't draw hard and fast lines. We assist everybody. We're all police officers. We want to make sure that everybody gets home safely at the end of the night. So as for our funding for the town, or for the detachment of Peace River, as of right now, we are losing 2 members, so that puts us 2 down, and we have 2 hard vacancies. Those are on the CTA side, so on the Indigenous side, and we are looking at filling those. We do have 2 new recruits starting, one starting in April and one starting in May. It's reality, we are a very junior detachment, and majority of people do come from depot. And we have also 1 member with the closing of Grand Prairie RCMP side. We do have a member from the Grand Prairie City that is transferring to the Peace Regional Detachment. He just has to sell his house. So bring some experience, not as much as we like, but I'll take all the members we can to train. Honestly, I know people look at it as a juniors detachment, and it's very, very difficult with members, but I rather have young junior members coming into my detachment than members with significant more service, because as most of you are aware, we probably get stuck in our ways when we age a little bit. So younger members with junior service are a lot easier to train, and to train them on the better habits for policing than members that have a lot more significant service. They're great to have. They bring a lot of wealth and a lot of knowledge to the detachment, but molding young minds is honestly why I'm in the position that I'm in, to see the young members grow and flourish and see how their career aspirations change. And having a big detachment that we have, we provide them with lots of opportunities to go down the path of what they want, whether they like to do traffic enforcement, crime reduction, proactive community policing, all those different things. We give them the opportunity at our Peace Regional Detachment. So with regards to the stats from the Peace River side, obviously these stats are from October to December. In the month of December, if you guys noticed, we got like 45 feet of snow. So the criminals don't want to be out trudging through the snow when the weather's bad. I also don't like being out there, so that causes a fluctuation in our stats. It's pretty normal throughout the year. Cold weather hits, people don't like being out freezing when they're stealing equipment. Springtime is generally where we see an influx in that, and we know that, and we prepare for that from both detachments. So you'll see the stats generally kind of drop down in through the Christmas time. Certain stats do, like break-in enters and thefts and things like that can drop down around that time of year, but other things increase. Because you're cooped up at home, we do respond to a lot of spousals. People just can't get along in their own homes when they're stuck at home together. And then a lot of mental health calls. Unfortunately, Christmas and New Year's is very difficult for a lot of people that time of year. So we do respond to a number of those calls. When we do respond to those calls and we are arresting people under Form 10, we are transporting them to Grand Prairie Regional Hospital. That's the closest designated facility that we have for our region. So we are still doing that. We do have the RPAC member in place. Unfortunately, right now, as of January 1st of this year, she does not have a nurse again. They are trying to staff the nurse side of that, but we still have the member there and she is still able to assist us with different aspects for mental health calls that we respond to. Our detachment's been busy with community involvement. Again, I know we're not up this way a whole lot, but within our region, a lot of things that we have been doing. CLO is very engaged with the schools, being out in the schools. Unfortunately, as everybody's aware, we had an incident in Tumbler Ridge. Once that happened, all of our detachment has been very prominent in the schools, just to increase presence, just to let people know that we are there. You may not see us all the time, but we are there. We are responding to calls and we want to engage with kids. And as Gavin said, we want to build those relationships when they're young. When we walk into schools, you don't want kids being like, oh, they're here to arrest me, things like that. We want to build a positive relationship and let them know that if kids are struggling or anybody, then they can come to us and we're a safe space where they can bring that information to us and we can engage with them. We're more outside of the uniform. Like we take these uniforms off and we're, people too, just like everybody else. So we want them to be able to see that. A great thing that we had in December was Constable Sunday. Again, I can't praise him enough, but he was able to bring up a lot, continuing with the youth mentorship program that he started last year, 2 years ago. We had a CFL player and a TSN analyst come up to and visit the high schools. They were at Grimshaw and they were in the town of Peace River, just engaging with the youth, helping them with steps towards, once you graduate high school, you got to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life, those hard questions. So they were there speaking to the high school students, engaging with them on different careers and just kind of showing the kids that it's great to have them come up to a place like this. Like, why would a CFL person come up to Peace River, right? Like, it's great for kids to see that you don't have to come from the big cities to make it somewhere in life too. You can come from small town Manning or small town Peace River. So it's great to have that. Along with the APP is now shifting to the CPP, as Gavin had said. Our detachments, you're going to have your own with the Manning detachment with your community priorities plan. And then we have one with the Peace River. To be completely honest with you, the Peace River Regional Detachment covers 10 municipally elected councils. I have 10 different councils that I report to. I know it's super fun. So can I have 10 different CPPs for my detachment area? No, that's honestly completely unreasonable for me to be able to follow all those. But however, a lot of them align. A lot of communities with the town, Northern Sunrise County, MDPs, a lot of your priorities all align. Generally, break-in enters, traffic enforcement, community involvement, and prolific offenders is kind of the thing that we find that's pretty standard across the board. So I will gather all the information from the different councils and then put probably a couple smaller plans, because there are different communities that require different things, but one big plan for our detachment. And again, it's just policing priorities. So if you ask, or if a priority comes out, and I know it's a big hot topic, mental health and addictions, that's not specifically a policing priority. We deal with obviously drugs enforcement, things like that, but mental health and addictions is unfortunately not just a policing thing. Those are dealt with on many different levels, so that wouldn't be a priority that we would look after. We stick to just the criminal code priorities that we have: traffic enforcement, break-in enters, thefts. Community involvement is big because we want to be out there and involved, and organized crime, which goes down the road of drugs, guns, and prolific offenders. Prolific offenders is always a hot topic because we do have people that are released from correctional facilities residing in our community. We keep a big list of those, and we are checking on those individuals. I want you guys aware of that just because you're released and you're on a house arrest or different conditions, we actually make it an effort to go out and knock on a door at 2 o'clock in the morning to make sure that they are abiding by their conditions. So we do that quite regularly as well. And I think I got through it all. I just kind of ramble, I know.
That was the answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Well, I think there's just lots of confusion about the funded positions and how they break out, so I
Yeah.
just wanted it to be very clear and from the horse's mouth.
Yes, so provincially, 13 positions are funded specifically by the province. The Indigenous policings are its own funding model, provincial and federally, and then the town is its own funding model too.
And you didn't even brag that you're a bilingual detachment.
Oh yeah, there's two things I forgot. We're officially a bilingual detachment, my apologies. So in the detachment Peace River, we have 8 designated positions where individuals in those both speak English and French. I am not one of those individuals. So we do have that in our detachment, and also something that kind of affects or plays a part into your county as well is the Grimshaw detachment is opening twice a month for an administrative staff. We opened it on the 4th of March, and we will be opening it again next week, hours of 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. And then we'll readjust in April and moving forward.
So, yeah, speaking of funding, I mean, it's become a big line item for our municipality now, that, you know, it used to be all provincially covered, right? And then we kind of been gradually increasing, so, I mean, we have a good relationship with the National Police Federation who represents you people, and I'm not asking for an answer, but just a comment that, I mean, we support the RCMP, right? We don't see any upside to having a municipal police force. I just don't know how that would ever roll out in a small communities like ours, like the county and the town of Manning, and even Peace River for that matter, right? So I don't know how it's working in Grand Prairie, but I guess they're the guinea pig, and you're getting one of their members, which is a good thing. There's some overflow there, so yeah, we just, you know, I just want, and I know you're aware of it, that we actually contribute a lot of our tax dollars now to supporting the RCMP, right? So, but we also want to keep the RCMP, so, you know, I think it's still a better, if we had to fund our own municipal police force, it would cost us a lot more and probably have a lot poorer service. I mean, RCMP is a national force, right? I mean, you can call on agencies from one end of the country to the other, where I don't know, municipal police force, they say they can, but I don't see that. So just a comment that we do support the RCMP, and like I said, we actually put forward a resolution to our rural association about this. I mean, they call it a different name now, the Sheriff's Department, whatever they're kind of coming up with.
Alberta Sheriff's Police Service.
Yeah. I mean, previously it was some, I can't remember what it even was, another service that they were gonna try to form, but that UCP was interested in doing, and the RCMP, the National Police Federation had no idea what it was gonna cost, what it actually was. And so I think they kind of changed the name of it a little bit now, but yeah, it's just a comment, so.
To echo that, I know before coming here today, Lisa and I were talking, the reality that we acknowledge that with the way that the province is downloading costs of policing onto smaller rural communities, that it's even more important for us to really try and do our best to keep the costs in alignment, which is why, like, for example, Manning, looking at years past to this year, the budget's a lot better because we're fully staffed. And it's part of my job as attached commander to Manning, a very appealing place, so that we are the RCMP. The odds are there are going to be vacancies at some point as people transfer in and out. But to make sure that Manning is run, for example, detachment as best as possible, so that when we have officers looking at their next post, that they consider Manning, considering what we can offer both as a community, but also from a detachment and policing lens, because that is usually one of the biggest drivers of costs, is when there's a lot of vacancies. So yeah, no, I appreciate the support, and it's a very interesting time in policing. I think it's the best way to put it, but I know that we're both focused on what we can do for the community, and that's way above our pay grades. We'll just focus on the day-to-day, what we can do for you and what we can do for our constituents.
Yeah.
So if I look at the funding that the province are downloading to us at the moment, it's just over $300,000, and that's going to increase to $600,000 within the next 3 or 4 years. Are there any growth in the members in town or whatever that you guys can offer us for that? It's just more downloading, that's all it is.
It's more downloading to the communities and municipalities throughout the province. In 2024, we asked for an increase in provincial police officers for the Peace Regional Detachment. We asked for 7 new officers over the course of 5 years, because it's no secret we have a massive geographical area that we cover. And we were told hard no. The province is preparing for a rollover to their new Alberta Sheriff's Police Service. And so they are increasing the money that counties and stuff are paying now in order to foot that bill down the road. So we've been told numerous times. I'm pretty sure I just asked the CEO a couple months ago when I saw him as well, and it's a hard no. We are not getting any increase in police officers. Your bill is just increasing.
And that's not seen as double taxing? I'm still new to Canada, maybe.
I'm not an accountant, I don't know.
I see it as double tax.
Yeah, it's to pay for the shift over to the ASPS.
Okay.
So Sergeant, for, just curiosity
Yeah.
more than anything, trying to retrain constables in manning, is housing an issue? Like, I know there's not a lot of rentals or.
So we're a unique situation in Manning. Several years ago, we were isolated post as well as one with forced housing. That designation was removed, or sorry, LDP was removed, a limited duration posting, which some members would see as a benefit coming to a LDP, because after that, you have a bit more priority in where you go next. So that designation was removed. The detachment commander at the time did canvass for that to be changed back. However, that was also declined. In terms of housing your question, we still have forced housing here, which is a benefit that other posts that aren't LDP usually don't have. So that Manning's kind of in this unique boat where we're not an LDP, but we have forced housing. And most members see forced housing as a benefit. Because again, if you're in a smaller community, there's some lovely houses for sale, but it's the turnover of like, well, how long will it take possibly to sell? If you're looking at something that you have to get there, that's a priority, that can impact future career progression. So we don't have that issue with Manning because we have forced housing. All of the forced housing is being taken care of well. So that's a nice thing to walk into. And so what I can say for that is right now, for example, for my detachment, part of my job, part of my responsibilities is working with our younger members. Again, we are a somewhat junior detachment as well, and really showing them the benefit of small town policing and the ability to develop their skill set with the support of the RCMP, with the support of provincial units, with the support of our thousands of officers across Canada for informal mentorship to sort of develop those skills here. And I know that for some people, that's just the type of police officer they see themselves as and what they want. In fact, the officer coming from Grand Prairie to Peace River, I'm familiar with, and he's the type of person I think will excel in that smaller town policing. So there are a lot of benefits, but it's my job for Manning detachment to really get that out there. And we have other ways internal to the RCMP to sort of highlight the benefits of Manning detachment. So that's something that that is actively on my radar. As we start losing members, we're not planning to lose any. At the earliest would be another couple of years, I think, based on our membership, but it's on the top of my radar.
Well, that's probably true in any profession, is that integrating, new people into the community, right? So good for you to do that. Our CEO, he bought the old RCMP barracks, so you might have a room for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you did an amazing renovation on it, you'd never recognize it as what it once was, so. So any final questions? Really appreciate you coming to introduce yourself and the CPP, I think, is something we have to strive towards, so.
I've got one item, so we've been fairly isolated from some of the harder drugs in part of the world. We're hearing of things like meth coming in here, and it's a particularly evil substance. With people, so you have a strategy for that particular substance.
So when looking at substance abuse and addictions, a lot of it is associated with mental health, and mental health and addictions are associated with trauma. And so from a police enforcement lens, obviously we work on prolific offenders, we work on targeting the pipelines and the sort of the flow of drugs into communities. But there will be drugs in communities, and then it's mostly focusing on terms of our level are the individuals, making sure that they're safe, making sure that those that are experiencing those addictions, that we connect with community partners to make sure that they know that their supports are available. And that's something, for example, here in Manning that I'm working and connecting with a lot of our local organizations to have our officers and have our members be able to, when they connect with people that are, before they get to the point of full-blown addiction and crisis and trauma, when they're at that acutely elevated risk, that we're able to intercede and connect them with community resources so they don't get to the point of that addiction and they start using hard drugs like meth that can ruin their lives and their families' lives. So that's where I see a lot of our focus is to be on that, to proactively help. And that the people that are in the midst of addiction is we need to make sure that we are able to offer what supports that we can. There are some provincial programs in terms of the VOTP, the Virtual Opioid Dependency Program, for people that are in our custody, that we can offer supports or offer connections if they're wanting to deal with those addictions or at least try and break that cycle. But from my experience, that's one of the most challenging things that we deal with is that intersectionality between drugs, addiction, and mental health, because they almost very often go hand in hand. Hopefully I answered a bit of that question there.
Yeah, and you know, I guess that's the educational end of it too in schools, like, you know, that so kids really understand what it is, but to avoid it at all costs.
No, and that's another focus is building those relationships. Like Lacey said, when we go to schools, they see us as people and they listen to us as people. So building those formal, informal mentorships or at least relationships with the youth. So that when we say, hey, you know what, drugs are bad, they're like, oh, you're just saying that because you're a police officer. No, a lot of our officers, we have lived experience dealing with people and trying to convey that to a youth. So they actually, you know, take a second and realize, is that something that I want to go down, that path I want to go down or not? So that's definitely, like I said, that kind of the relationship that we build with youth is not just because we want kids to like us. I mean, that doesn't hurt. But we want them to sort of listen to us as we try and make sure that they achieve their full potential. And that means staying away from drugs and staying away from some bad decisions. So.
All right, well, thanks again, and did you get back to work?
Oh.
I look forward to doing this again. We have another report for us, so. That's something very good.
Please, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you later, Peter.
I'm sure I'll see you later.
All right, we can move down to our next delegation stop till 10:30. So move down to 6.1.1, big part. Non-relevant training for elected officials. So it says a member and a non-member price, are we considered a member?
Councillor or Deputy Reeve had attended a highlighted webinar, I guess you could say. It was a short condensed version and really appreciated the content. She had mentioned that with council's conversations with our strategic plan, as you see, I put in at the page in your agenda package with the priority number 4 that comes to communication strategies, economic development, your conversations in the last 6 to 8 months when it comes to Lac Cardinal. So she was wondering if council would be interested in taking this training. I'm hoping that she'll take a few minutes to speak to it. So I sent out an email to regional municipalities. I did get a call back from Northern Sunrise County. They are actually members and they would host, us host, and they would be able to get the membership price. So if council felt the need to kind of partner and bring in an in-person, the price per person, if you do it that way, I think is much better. And it's a much better dialogue and networking opportunity if you're in person. I would suggest going back to where you had your AMA zone meeting, at the Quality Inn there. It had good Wi-Fi, a nice area. It was perfect for a meeting like that, and it's centralized so that if other municipalities in the region want to also participate, they can. if that is a direction that council wants to go, I just kind of need a budget and some direction. I believe in the RFD, it had some points there. I just needed.
Yeah, so I think my email covered it pretty well in the package, but essentially I feel like we as council really struggle with the idea of what economic development is to us and what to do with it. I feel like it's a buzzword we put in our strategic plan and we just don't really have a good grasp of it. So when this 30-minute webinar came up, it was very eye-opening to me to know exactly what my role as an elected official is in economic development, how that looks for our municipality. And then after sitting through that and talking with the presenter, and then I talked with a couple EDOs out at Growing the North. And it was just like, I think we need to inform ourselves before we make a decision, like not having an EDO or not having membership with Black Burnell or whatever. I feel like this would be a good use of our money. I would have rather have seen the money go to this training than Growing the North because I didn't see a lot of value there. But I think it's important that at bare minimum, we sit through this course and we get a clear idea of what economic development is. We all struggled, all 7 of us, to sit here and come up with one definition together, right? So I think it's important that we get informed and then make an informed decision on how that looks for our future. I think we're in a really tough time right now with tariffs and all of our forestry industry struggling and everything, and we need to do something to prepare for the future. And I think it would be good due diligence to take this course, get informed, and move forward. So that being said, I did talk to Mayor Mesner from Grimshaw. She actually stayed for the last day of Growing the North, and they offered this course. So I picked her brain after and I said, like, what did you think about it? She's like, oh my gosh, it was eye-opening as to hear as an elected official what it means, right? So I think it would be of good value. The cost isn't outrageous. We've spent more money on other things. And at least this way, at the end of the day, we can put our heads down and know that we made a good informed decision, not just struggled and let it go.
I think it's a great idea. Would we share the cost with Living Sunrise?
I know,
If they book it and then we can.
I don't know, did you reach out to Misty?
I didn't reach out to him.
Okay, because I know that when I talked to her at Growing the North, some of the Lac Cardell members haven't taken this course. So that was kind of what I thought, if we can carpool and get enough of us together to share the cost and benefit everybody, right? So that might be something we can do before we officially book, just see if like MD Peace or Village of Berwyn or any of them want to get in on it too, and just really share the cost then, right?
So is council suggesting that you, that we plan together with Northern Sunrise and possibly make it a $50 or $75 registration fee, which would cover, their lunch and the rental. I believe it was what, $350 when we rented Quality in Space. So that would certainly help. And then, that would cut to the bottom line.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, yeah. And I would just like to see us maybe, in addition, reach out to Misty at Lac Burnell and just see if, or even just the other municipalities and just see, like, I know Grimshaw's got some new members, Berwyn's got some new members, MD of Peace, I don't know if they've ever taken it, but would be a good regional approach to take. And Coach,
Do they have a maximum amount for
30 people.
So just get this straight, so just Northern Sunrise and ourselves, or Black Card will be part of it too? Like all the members of Black Card will give show MD and Berlin?
I would, like to fan it out, see if we can get up to 30 or
I would think that,
more see.
you usually get 30 if you want. Well, this is this just elected people or is this the EDOs?
No, it's specific to elected officials only, so I don't think there's much value for, to have like a whole bunch of admin heavy staff, right? Like it's very focused on elected officials and how to give good direction to your admin and clear direction, which I think is something that we struggle with. So
So I did send out an email to all of our regional municipalities. And of course, it was during when most of you were at RMA. So I did only receive one feedback, which was Northern Sunrise, and they were members, so they could get the member pricing. So we definitely would fan out an invitation to all of them once we have details squared away.
Yeah.
But if council could tell me whether or not they just want to post or whether we want a registration fee, which is reasonable to cover, you know, lunch and rental. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
So that $3,000 fee, that's to bring the facilitator in.
Plus, yes, that's the facilitator, plus, I
Yeah.
believe, travel expenses are on top of that, which is a normal.
And then with lunch and.
I mean, I say we start with Northern Sunrise, see what our numbers are for interest, and then fan it out and say, hey, look, we have 8 more spots left, 9 more spots left, anybody else? And I'm okay with like a $50 registration. I think if we split that all the way out, that helps cover lunch and rental and.
I know Community Futures put on something, this was years ago when I was first on council, and it was total waste of time in my mind, but I mean, this is probably something different than what they were. Community Futures was more about what they do is trying to get seed money to small businesses starting up, and
Yeah.
it was, and then I went to one in Grand Prairie when Eleanor was still here, her and I went to it. And same thing, I mean, it was very, very high level, kind of focused on large urban centers and, so I mean, within the MGA, I think part of our mandate is to have economic development, right? And so I guess,
I think the hardest thing is to define it and what that means and what our role in it is, right? And this course, like even the 30-minute overview of the course was very specific to that, and it was very elected official focused to know what to do and how to move forward in our roles. And I think that would be a value, because you can say economic development all we want and then tell admin to go do economic development, but that's not very clear for them, so.
well, especially since we don't even have an economic development officer.
100%. And I just think because it come up now in Manning, it was brought up in the South, now it's been brought up in Manning, like it's starting to become a thing, right? So.
And I think if it was, like the rural municipalities, it would be geared to us then, rather than the larger.
Yeah, and the facilitator, like he's got tons of experience and big and small, which is of value, right? That helps us.
And also we can extend it to maybe the town of Manning County.
For sure. So we include them.
Well, you
So
said,
we small, the small rural.
and you found it out, so some of the other ones might respond?
Yeah.
So we could end up with more than 30, but I mean, that would be a good thing, I guess. So we have no idea of time frame when this would happen. It'd be up to,
But we have to get our numbers and then reach out to them, I think, and then know.
because I mean, that was the other thing was to try to find a date that works for majority of people, right? But that's always a problem with that, no matter what you do, so.
And I think I suggested the month of May in the RFD, but I can't remember. May seems to be in my head for some reason. It's spring and it makes it easier for people to travel.
Yep.
And May might be a little bit more open, or at least at the moment, to save the date for something. Because it's a lot easier if you just choose a date that works well for this council. Because there's more than 30 elected officials in the whole entire region, so I'm sure that you'll get your 30 if you guys yourself choose a date that you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how busy they are, maybe get in contact with them and just see if they have dates in May that would be available. And go from there.
Okay.
The facilitator,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know like how many they do a year or.
okay, well, any questions? I mean, we can get a motion and we can debate it more, discuss it more, but somebody prepared to make the motion?
I'll go ahead and move that.
Okay, Councillor Sharp, any further discussion?
So what is the motion exactly?
It's on your screen.
To authorize admin to work with and plan arrangements with Northern Sunrise County to host an in-person economic development training session for elected officials in the region and charge $50 per registration.
And that's kind of an arbitrary number of $50, until we actually know what.
Yeah. and we
Yes,
just
sure.
charge your registration.
Yeah.
Want me to take the 50?
Let's take the 50. Yeah, it might be less if we have 4:30, right?
Right, just a registration fee, so that's a little more open-ended. Okay, no more discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Item B is Lemon Aid Day in Manning.
So we received a phone call and a letter from Community Futures in East River. They are expanding their Lemonade Day program. I do believe they have one in Fairview, East River. They would like to try one in Manning. And so they partnered with the local FCSS. This does not come out of Megan's budget. It is Community Futures for their entrepreneurship program. I did explain to her that the County of Northern Lights does already fund FCSS. So she went back and changed the posters to make sure our logo was on it. But then we had a discussion, they need a little bit more money for the booklets that the children do and for that bill program. So she was looking for $1,000. She's putting up a few different areas. But she was asking the county for a contribution of $500 for workbook supplies. And then I asked her about judging. They need 3 judges for the event. And I believe Eldon from Venture is one of them, being Chamber of Commerce representative. And so with a contribution of $500, one of the counselors here could represent us and be a judge on the event day.
Such a great program.
Yeah, totally is. I'd like to make that motion. The volunteer to be a judge.
Get your lemonade
So your motion is what, to acknowledge receipt of the request and
And provide
$500? Okay, Councillor Decker makes that motion.
And have Council Dickon as the representative.
We have the data that you
Says June 13th.
gotta check. Got out of the country. Saturday, right?
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Security. Item C is Canadian Nuclear Association Conference 2026. I attended this last year along with Reeve from India Peace as members of PREC. PREC paid for registration. I'm assuming it was in Ottawa, and it actually coincides with the CANAC AGM at the same time. They kind of do that intentionally. CANAC is the Canadian Association of Nuclear Host Communities.
So would all the costs of this be paid for by the committee or can we get into it?
So last year, they only paid the registration, the municipalities paid the travel expenses. Which basically was a flight at Edmonton, direct to Ottawa. In the hotel rooms for 2 nights.
I don't see the value in this. Everything's going up, but we're looking at, if you look at it, look at the price of diesel, it's almost $2 a liter. I just think we need to start looking at expenses, and I don't see the value in it.
Well, I mean, as we know, there's a proposed project in our region and there's some great educational networking presentations there. I found it very valuable. I mean, that was very eye-opening when I attended last year. I would encourage anybody that's interested or has time to attend. I would even like to attend again, but I think it's overlapping with something. The council meeting, this was all before the council meeting day. And we haven't brought this up with Greg yet about covering registration, which I'm sure there would be an agreement to. So this is one last year I was registered for FCM, which is the next item on our agenda. And FCM happened to be in Ottawa as well. And I canceled that and directed any expenses from that towards the CNA, which I thought was much more valuable. Federation, FCM, I don't know, it's a huge organization, probably has lots of benefits, but seem to get kind of lost in it. So I guess probably the thing to do with this, you know, is there a deadline for registration? I haven't noticed.
Well, after March 31st, it goes up 300 bucks.
Right,
And I don't think PrEC is meeting again
until April now. So we could probably find out an email through PrEC to see if there's any interest in paying registration for the attendees.
Yeah.
And then bring it back to council then.
Yeah.
Because that would kind of be maybe contingent on that, I don't know.
Well, and I think we had some members going to the AGM, right? I think Bob and Northern Sunrise were going.
Yeah, I don't,
I know there was 4 from Peace Road.
the town officer.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Peace River, yeah, I remember them talking about going.
CEO. And
Here,
the mayor and I think the mayor is also. And one more from administration from the station. Councillor.
yeah, because last year, Bob and I were approved by Rector role. And the mayor and the CEO from town, and they showed up on their own. Which, I mean, anybody's entitled to do, right? I mean, it's a 1,600 people attended the conference, and it's huge.
Yeah,
Well, I'm in favor of sending the councillors from here, so we still have one more meeting.
We do, yeah.
Decide.
For the early bird deal.
yeah, I think we found out an email, see what PrEC committee decides if they're gonna pay or not, and then make a decision at the next meeting
Okay, so
officially.
let's, you want to make that motion to table it then? To, March
24th, I think.
March 24th.
Yeah.
I can make that. Gary, Councilor Thies makes a motion that we table this report until March 24th meeting. All in favor? Carried. What time are we here? Let's just do the FCM one, and we'll take a break. Item D was FCM annual convention in Edmonton this year. So of course, they're encouraging everybody from Alberta to attend, since it is in our home province. I will be away. I won't be available then, but anybody else interested in attending?
I went last year in Calgary.
Yeah, I did too.
Someone else.
Did it feel any different in Calgary? Like, was there more of an Alberta flavor? Like, I feel like we just get lost in it. It's such a big thing and it's so expensive, and it's like, do we really get anything from it?
Well, the problem is it's so focused on the big urbans, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you get Toronto and Vancouver and Calgary and Edmonton. And, I mean, they have their little rural breakout rooms or whatever, but
Even those were focused on more urban issues.
yeah, like, and that's kind of like the vibe I get, even like reading through the agenda, and I'm like, okay, so what's in it for us? Like, we're not a Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton.
you know, it's the same as
Oh, I know.
it's the same as a lot of these conferences. It's probably the most valuable thing is the networking. You get to
Yeah.
run it to meet people from around the country, and and then I mean, they have their big hall with all the federal leaders come in and give their little speeches there, which are really all lip service, right? They don't I mean, actually, it was quite amazing in Calgary last year when Justin Trudeau actually showed up there and took questions from the floor. Like, I think 2 questions was all he got, but,
I don't hear a lot of enthusiasm, so I think we could save some money and, I'll move to
we'll
accept it for information.
see what Wayne said. Okay, is that your motion, number?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt receipt of FCM conference and accept the information, all in favor? It's carried. Okay, we got a pretty light agenda, we're gonna have a go for lunch, I guess, because our meeting time was not till 1. The preferences? Sushi, Gary?
Gary loves sushi.
And we'll,
You're right, Gary.
we'll move down to 6.1.1, item E was an addition. The RMA resolutions, we've typically been going over these now, just to see if we have an opinion one way or the other, or just wait for the debate, so everybody's got that open, we can just run through them, there's 13 of them. So the first one is urgent reforms to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. I don't know if this is regarding the tagging we wanted to do in cattle, or is this for gophers, but it just says pest management. Any idea what that one would be about, Blake? Probably not, eh?
No, first time I'm hearing of it right
Yeah,
now.
Could be a fun floor debate one.
I think it could be, you know,
Yeah.
they had all that one before Christmas here about the new traceability.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll, I mean, as an agriculture municipality, we probably will support this, but we'll wait and see what it is. Number 2 is changes to provincial bridge and culvert classification. Well, I don't know what that's about. Do you have any idea what they're trying to reclassify?
No, this is actually the first I'm hearing of it,
Yeah,
so I can read it and.
well, I think that's another one we'll have to just sit back and watch the presentation.
Yeah.
Inclusion of veterinarians and animal health technicians who have their student loan forgiveness, so we talked about that at the zone meeting. Where these, for some reason, veterinarians are exempted from the, everybody else is, so we have to support
Would you
that.
guys like to see the resolution?
Mhm.
If you scroll down.
Or you're gonna pop them open,
I'm gonna try.
so there is. Read more, citizen. Just go to the therefore part of it. You know, so we just give CFI a slap on the wrist there.
Yeah.
Okay, go to the next one. Bridge and culvert classification.
No.
So province must not align with the federal right now,
On that. I mean, I wonder how many more bridges are gonna, or culverts are now gonna be classified as bridges. Be more fighting for still, you know?
Well, there's already classifications of culverts as bridges, that's
Okay.
like anything over. Anything over at 1,200 can be classified as a bridge. Not necessarily all are, it just depends on the situation,
but
and if you have it registered as a bridge fund.
this is talking more about the span of it, not the diameter, right? So
Culvert spanning 3,000 mm as a bridge structure.
Yeah, that's 3,000. 3 meter pipe.
Right.
Like 3 meter diameter pipe.
I guess the thought is, if they become bridge files that they aren't now, then they would be eligible for STIP funding, right? It's probably what they're,
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know, I need to read into this.
Yeah, well, and it kind of,
okay, let's,
we had a lot of information going into their background here so far.
so you can skip 3 and 4, Teresa, because we're presenting number 4. So then we go to number 5, which is funding to clean up contaminated and derelict properties.
There, maybe we can just explain the number, the 4, the one that county brings forward for our members of applicants here.
Oh, well, yeah, so number 4 that we're presenting is we're just pushing back on the proposed electoral boundary changes, where we want to add more provincial seats to the urbans and reduce them in the rural areas. Or redraw the boundaries and probably lose 1 seat. So we don't see that as a good model.
Especially when our MLA's area is gonna go.
Mhm.
Someone understand?
And kind of hypocritical of the federal model when we complain about not having representation in the west, and the east has all the power, so they're kind of doing the same proposal that shift more power to the urbans and reduce it in rural. Okay, go to number 5. Cleaning up contaminated properties. So I'm assuming this is related to more of the abandoned oil and gas. I mean, they got the orphan wealth thing, but this must fall outside of that. Okay, well, this is another one where they're asking for funds from the government, that's the majority of them do, but municipal involvement in regulatory processes. This was presented at the Zoom meeting as well. So this is one that isn't asking for any money, same as ours, and they just want more involvement with the process, so.
You mentioned confined feeding operations. Feedlots.
What's that, Brett?
We're talking about feedlots here.
So I guess it's one of those things that, the way I understood it, it's these bureaucratic decisions are made in the towers and really don't have a grasp of what the applications might be. And we supported the zone meeting, so I suspect we supported again. Number 7, growth management boards, which we don't have. Kind of neutral on that one. Suspect we will support them. Number 8, equitable electric distribution, again, presented at the zone meeting. City of Grand Prairie, County Grand Prairie, been fighting for this for a long time.
That could be some interesting debate on the floor, I think.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, if we get a fair rate up in the north, it's gonna come at a cost to the people in the south, right?
Absolutely.
But I mean,
Absolutely.
a small cost, but I guess. So we'll support that. Number 9, access to liability insurance for agritourism operators. Don't know if it's ever been an issue in our municipality, but obviously it is for somebody. We'll hear the debate on that one. Make a decision after that. 10, strategic planning for the aviation sector in Alberta. And of course, they're trying to get that Bombardier manufacturing plant going up in Mountain View, or I guess actually that's in Wheatland.
That one might be a good one, maybe Charles, if you wanted to read through it and just let us know some thoughts or whatever, cause I mean. They're referencing the national study on the viability of smaller airports that we definitely have, right?
For sure.
If you have some.
And as
insight.
far as the bridge one, I just finished kind of going through it briefly and I. It's just trying to get more money out of STEP, which I fully agree with.
Yeah,
That's not a bad thing, if we can be part of it. Okay, we'll probably support that, but we'll wait and see. 11, prioritization of RMA resolutions to support advocacy, so. This is kind of what ag service boards, you know, they get all these resolutions, you know, they prioritize the top 3. So they can, and maybe ag service. Provincial committee is a lot smaller, they don't have the resources to tackle 13 resolutions, so they prioritize them, but. I don't know, RMA, if this is actually a problem for them.
well, this come up in November on the floor, and they had a pretty hot debate about the threshold and what it needed to pass and vote with, right?
Mhm.
So this is gonna be a rollover. Paul might have his angry pants on again.
I just. Wonder, you know, we'll go through the effort of writing the resolution, presented at the zone, presented at the provincial conference, have it passed, and then, oh, sorry, it didn't make the cut.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, like this could be a hot debate again. Cause it just kind of looks like they're trying to go for the same thing in another roundabout way as they did in November.
Number 12, that was presented at our zone meeting. On behalf of Macomb County, there's reversal of the decision to close the research station. Which nobody wants to see happen. Find it, Jason. You're out, you're right. So since we have a research station of our own, I think we could support this. And the last one, controlling grizzly bears to ensure community safety. And not a huge problem for us, but I think in the foothills it is. We could move some bears up here to eat elk. Would be fine.
And I feel like they ask this question at the bear pit session, like every year, like especially Woodland County, they ask about it every year, I feel like. Nice to see an official resolution.
Okay, so. I would suspect we support this. And these problem wildlife. Okay, go back to your main screen again. Yeah, there you go. So we'll just need a motion to acknowledge receipt of the convention results and accept for information. Okay, Councillor Deacon, all in favor? It's carried. Next edition was the RMA Mayor's and Reeves Liaison Committee agenda. So every convention on the night, the evening of the, before the main convention starts, we always have a Mayor's and Reeves quick meeting, and it is quick. We look for agenda items, see there's actually probably more than I've seen before, there's 4 of them on there. I think the email was sent out, everybody responded, they had nothing. So unless there is something that they would like to know sooner than later, so they can make up their agenda. So we'll see none, we'll just get a motion to acknowledge receipt of the meeting agenda except for information. Brenda, Councillor Yasinski, all in favor? Carried. And our last addition we had this morning, item G was a request from Councillor Halbadiski for a leave of absence. And I don't think we checked their text message, she said probably April 8th. I'm going to say April 11th, But make sure it's, I will try and attend with Zoom possibly. So,
Mine was always historically like the end of April, should we do it just to be safe? Is there harm if she comes back before then? To avoid having to do another motion? Yeah. I feel like every year it's April 30th
so
usually.
that's the end of tax season, right? So that.
Yeah.
What she's asked for before, so. So, yeah, I guess we'll make it till the end of April, and
I think just
if she
cover.
wants to come back earlier, she's.
Yeah.
Two options, and.
But she also wants us to make sure that we say that.
Well,
Make sure it says I'll try to, and let's do.
that's it. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty ambiguous to say I'll try as
Yeah.
even impossible. Of course she can. Let's just make a leave of absence until April 30th, and if she attends, and. Okay, any questions? Motion to do that? Okay, Councillor Reese, all in favor? It's carried. Let's back up on our agenda. No, that's on the next page. That's right, but anyway.
It's under 663.
Oh.
Under there.
So we'll back up to 4.0 delegations. I see our delegation from the Grimshaw Library is here, so welcome. If you guys want to come up right here.
Thank you. Great. Sure.
Thank you for working with our travel schedule and discombobulating your agenda by moving the delegations around. I appreciate that.
Words.
We brought you a little bit of swag.
Oh.
We brought you some pens and some bookmarks.
They're definitely all over it.
They're fun pens, they have little digits on them.
Oh, nice.
Mhm. I call them meeting pens because I don't know if anybody here does it, but there are sometimes people that click during meetings, but now you can just spin.
They are fun too.
The bookmarks that Carolyn is passing out show a picture of our little North Branch, which is our little free library that opens up in the summertime. So if you're not familiar with the North Branch and you're wondering, how does Grimshaw have two branches of the library? It's the former visitor information booth that was going to be vacant. And so we open it up as a life-size little free library over the summer and do some programming out of it and answer some questions and things like that.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Carolyn Dirk. I'm the chair of the Grimshaw Library Board. Obviously, this is Vivian, our library manager. Thank you for having us today. We are here to talk to you, not to ask for funding, but to tell you what we've been doing with the funding that we have received from you in the past. We had been working up until 2024 on our plan of service that went from 2019 to 2024 on a set of goals that we had collaborated to create. And during that time, we also navigated a pandemic, closures, everything that came with that, and the sudden retirement of our 30-year library manager. And despite all of that ups and downs, we managed to achieve all of the goals on that plan of service, except one, which we have carried over to our current plan, which we just established.
Mhm. So I'm unsure. I'll just do a really quick recap, recognizing the time, of your awareness of what the libraries have to do in terms of plans of service. So we are mandated through Public Library Services Branch, which is our branch of municipal affairs that we're in, to have a plan of service that is submitted and approved and has a very specific format that it needs to follow, and we need to do those for every 3 to 5 years. So this year we've gone through a 3-year one. But what we do is there's a lot of community consultation, there's surveys, which have certain levels of success with return rate. And so what we did this time is very much as soon as we could catch somebody in person, we had the conversation with them, and it took a little bit longer and you had to do it more times. But that was our community needs assessment. And then what we did, which we've done, this was the first time that we've done it, we took the library board, who has normally been the creators of the plan, and I brought in the library staff to work with them on that. And so then that way the staff could bring in and say, here's what we're hearing from people at the counter who are maybe not filling out a survey, but they're comfortable telling us this over and over. And then the board could work together. And then we get together, reformulate the plan. One of the really important things is to look around and see what's already been offered in the community so that we're not duplicating services and wasting time and resources by putting on the same program that community services is doing, or taking those kinds of things. And so it does take a little bit of time to create a plan of service, but it does, as Carolyn said, give you that guidance and that plan to follow. So even through a pandemic and Linda's retirement, we made it through. So I know that you've had a chance, or you've seen the plan of service. I'm not sure, you may not be familiar with the service responses. Again, that's a format that we need to follow from Public Library Services branch. There's 18 service responses that we can choose from. The temptation, because of how they're written, and they're written to be appealing, the temptation is to do as many of them as you like, because they all look like a really good idea. But then the very next line in the paragraph of how to do a plan of service is, don't try to do everything, pick 3 and excel at those 3, because they said no matter what size your library is, you won't be able to do all 18 options. And those 18 options are the ones that libraries typically offer in their communities. And so then what happens is you take what your community is looking for and you think nobody else is offering, and you do that and you say, well, what service response does that fit under? So our service responses were knowing your community, visiting a comfortable place, and making career choices. So right now we are in the location that we are in between the schools and the multiplex. We do have a lot of people that come in because they're not really sure where to go in the building, or they're not really sure if they're at the right spot, and they're not really sure where they would go to do that. So we do end up answering a lot of those questions already for them and kind of providing a lot of directional stuff. I used to do a printed library calendar and stopped doing that, and then have now found that there's maybe an appetite for that again, because we all switched into social media and websites and things like that. And then as websites are not updated and social media becomes a little overwhelming, there are still people that just want a piece of paper to go home with, kind of thing. So we're starting to incorporate that back in. And I'm also trying to work with existing community calendar resources so that, again, so we're not duplicating, we're just all feeding and working into each other again. I am also looking at, a screen that could be read from one of those,
Like a digital.
bulletin, bulletin board kind of thing, so that I can be giving information to the people in the parking lot who are there for hockey and don't even know that they need to know about library things. Our next service response is visiting a comfortable place. And so we are in the position of having a fairly new facility that's fairly comfortable and still feels fairly new. And so we actually looked at taking that past the walls of our library and making sure that wherever we were in the community was a comfortable space. We heard a lot from the community that they appreciate seeing the library at, the Harvest Moon Festival or out at Pioneer Village Museum or partnerships, because they knew if they found us, they would find out what they were supposed to be doing and things like that. So they were happy to see us. So we're extending our physical space in that respect by being out and in the community more. One of the things that I'm going to turn over to Carolyn on is that working with new and existing partners at larger events. We have found with our Festival of Trees, it's been 14 years with our Festival of Trees. We're going to do one more year with that, and that, but the funds raised from that fundraiser are not at the levels that they used to be. And so we're looking at new things. And so one of the new things that we have incorporated, and which will hopefully grow into quite a good fundraiser, is the Mile Zero Fan Summit, which is, although is not specifically a library event, is organized by people for the benefit of the library. So Carolyn. Sure.
On this last goal you're talking about, minimum of 2 outdoor events at the North Branch location, where is it for that?
So that is right at the caboose.
Separate
Yeah.
from the-
Yeah. So that's that little building by the caboose, and it was the visitor information center, the tourist booth for a long time in Grimshaw. And then when the town decided that they were going to not staff that, and the building was going to be empty, and so we requested the ability to use that space for summer programming. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So the Mile Zero Fan Summit that Vivian mentioned was kind of created with community members interested in showcasing like pop culture interests, kind of finding some community members who maybe weren't being represented by sports, hockey, other community things that were existing, maybe things that were existing in larger communities, and we're bringing it to a small area. So it's a one-day event. We held one last year, and it featured panel speakers, it featured a market space, we had some gaming demonstrations, we had a cosplay contest, we had visitors coming from Edmonton to come and do some cosplay performing. And we had about 350 people attend for our first year last year. So the goal is to make it bigger and help it grow in partnership with the library, so that the funds raised from that event, from ticket sales and whatnot, can go to support the library, because the library is an integral partner in so many of these events that happen in the community. So the goal is to make that a bigger player in helping raise funds for the library a bit here too.
And it's a really good fit for the library, because if you think about, we can't call it a Comic-Con because Comic-Con is trademarked. Some people call them nerd conferences or nerd conventions or something like that. But they're really a gathering of people that are very focused on characters and storylines and plots, and so that is very.
It
It's an
ties
excellent fit
very
for
nicely
the
with
library.
the literacy aspect of the library and the library's programming of like doing crafts and incorporating reading and media fits really nicely into it. So we have a lot of people who enjoy our library programming coming and participating in this event, and people who maybe haven't been part of the library are now enjoying library programming as a result.
The other thing that we looked at under that service response was extended hours of service. I think it's been just about 5 years, actually. It was pre-COVID that we last had evening hours. So we are trying to do, we did kind of a trial period that'll last until April for evening hours. So we're staying open until 7 o'clock Thursday nights instead of closing at 4:30. And we do have a handful of people that are really enjoying it. We've also been able to use that time to schedule, say we just had the Girl Guides open house in there because they just had their 100th anniversary of World Thinking Day. So they came on a Thursday night and were able to have their open house there. We've had some fan summit meetings in there. We've had visits from Duncan's First Nation Youth Group on those Thursday nights, and just to have some evening programming for very important for people who can't make it to the library by 4:30 and maybe can't make it there on Saturdays either. So that is something that our board is going to evaluate the stats on at the next board meeting and decide if it will go. Quite likely it will continue, but it will probably continue as seasonal hours, because I foresee it dropping off considerably once the sun is shining and people are able to be in their yards and camping, truthfully. The last one is the job and career development. So this is one that I was actually, this is the one that was the holdover from the previous, one of the ones that was the previous holdover from the previous plan of service, sorry. So I was able to get a grant from the province and use that to replace our aging public computers. And we've now got, the covered in job board with postings. And I'm really trying to get the word out to employers across the region. If they would like to send us job postings, I'd be happy to post them. Again, recognizing that one of the main ways where people are looking for job information is on social media and trying to navigate sites like Job Bank or Indeed.ca. And sometimes those can be a little onerous and difficult to navigate. And if you're new to the area and you don't know about which Facebook group is active, et cetera, then it just puts up another barrier for you to find that information. So we're trying to remove those barriers, put them right out where people can see them. And so I do attend the local Chamber of Commerce meetings and try to keep in good contact and use that network to get that information out. And then the last one is looking for a quiet study and training space. If you have been in our library, when we moved to the location, it is a beautiful open concept plan that it's got, high ceilings, beautiful windows, and it's not conducive to quiet study while we have a class of grade 4s in it at the other end of the room kind of thing. So if I have somebody that needs to study, I've got a lot of post-secondary students that are doing some distance learning, and I also proctor exams for them. And we have people who use our computers for job readiness training or possibly job interviews, and I don't have a quiet place to put them when they're there. So we are investigating not so much renovations or additions, because I just don't think that's going to be feasible with the 3 partners involved in the building. So we're looking at some standalone options, which are possibly a little kind of freestanding soundproof booth that, could be reserved, could be booked. It wouldn't necessarily have the public computers in it, but we could put a computer in it for job readiness training. Just because of all the things that we gained when we moved to our new location, being adjacent to the schools, quiet wasn't one of them. Yeah. So we are looking at that and to see if that is something that we can do. We don't actually have a meeting space as well. So then what I'm doing is trying to work with the multiplex who does have a meeting room to see if there's any way that we can, connect with them and direct our people in that respect. So yeah, it's just about working together, not duplicating, and finding out what your community needs. So I feel like I rushed through that a little bit, but maybe I didn't because it's already 10:43. But I did want to open the floor for questions. If there's something that you wanted to know about that is not in the plan of service, something that was in the plan of service, if there's anything.
No, thank you. No, good information. So I guess it's my general observation that it's working well, having the public library shared with 2 school divisions, other than you say, the grade 4s being a little disruptive maybe, but I mean, there's ways of overcoming that, I'm sure.
Yes.
So, no, that's working well.
I think so. I think we have definitely benefited from the positioning and the greater visibility and being able to connect with the community. And anything else, there's still a few learning curves even after 8 years in there. And I think it is mostly at the organizational level when we have people change. So when there's turnover in the school divisions and there's just that little bit of, oh, well, this is how we always did it. Why did we do it this way? Somebody should write that down kind of thing. So it's communication and documentation that's key. Yeah.
Just wondering if you have any patron numbers, like statistics of the number of patrons that you have, even monthly or yearly, or just off the top of your head.
Okay, well, I think in the monthly report that I sent you, there will be a 1-page infographic, and that will tell us. And that will tell you that we saw, Kaylin, can you help me? Are you looking at it right now? I want to say that we had somewhere,
22,600 people walk through the doors last year, 1,100 with cards. Answered 18,000 questions for 30 groups.
C grade 4, yeah. Yeah.
74 outreach programs, 12 virtual programs, and 11,427 people attending.
Yes, thank you, because I know
Sure.
the little Manning, library, the patrons is phenomenal, like every month there's 1,200 or so. This is- I just can't
Absolutely.
believe that the people are
Yeah.
still using the libraries like that.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Are they numbers growing, stagnant?
I would say that they are growing. You know, there's always, we did see that little blip in 2020 and 2021 kind of thing. And we actually really had to work really hard to kind of get people back into the habit of using library services. Not so much, they were really entrenched in the online library services at that point, but to get them to come back to events does seem to have taken a little bit of time. And I feel like we are probably this year, last year, we're kind of at what we would call pre-COVID numbers in terms of programming and things like that. As we get out into the community more, my programmer goes to the long-term care and to the Stonebrook facility for outreach once a month. She also goes to the play school and to the daycares and to Duncan's First Nation daycare once a month. We're recognizing that not as many parents have the ability to bring their children in for preschool programming, so we decided to take some of our preschool programming out to them. And then the benefit is that when the kids do come to school at either Grimshaw Public or Holy Family, they'll say, "Hey, it's the library lady. I already know you," kind of thing. And so it's a really good preparation for them and really makes them feel comfortable quickly. But yes, I would say that we are really well used.
And if I can toot our horn a little bit, our library staff are excellent at seeing a need and filling it. Like as Vivian says, trying not to step on the toes of other organizations in the community. The group is amazing at finding little spaces where the library can fit, such as, you know, they do offer the in-house preschool programming as well as the daycare and the play school outreach. So they're finding these little pockets where maybe there's someone who's not using the library and bringing the library to them, which is just increasing our reach.
I think further to that, even last year when you guys were out at Pond Hockey with the author event, like that was very well attended. You were very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually substantial numbers. I mean, 22,000, if you take 220 average open days, I'm using a random number here, but that's more than 100 a day. That's quite a lot.
So is that
We
including?
should use that as our advertising material and getting access to the public for communication a bit more, so I'm trying to establish as well.
Is that inclusive of the schools as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is inclusive of school traffic and if we have larger events. So what I have at each entrance of the library, I have people counters. And so I can track how many people are walking through. And then I usually give I take that total and give it about 75% to cut down on the people that, you know, they walk in, but then they forget something, so they come back out and then they come back in again kind of thing. But yeah, it's inclusive of school traffic and that would involve probably, I think we had about 500 people come through for our Festival of Trees this year. So things like that, when we have those events. We've done some home roots concerts and things like that. So those will be in the stats as well. So our special
Does
events.
that include North Branch or that's separate or you don't count North Branch?
I didn't put North Branch in this one. North Branch, I think we had about 900 people in July last year. So
Say between the summer reading program and like just open
And
traffic. That takes-
National Hot Dog Day and
Hot
yeah.
Dog Day,
yeah.
And the weather was not amazing this summer for some of those things, so that might have even been on the low side.
Well, this is the thing, is that anytime you have an outdoor event or location, it's a leap of faith to organize that. So yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Well, thank you for coming up and
Excellent.
sharing your good story and all the work you're doing. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your
Yes.
continued support. And I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish and really looking forward to what's coming down. So
No, great job.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thanks for the treats.
Oh,
Enjoy.
Yeah.
All right, we can move down to 6.1.2. Item A is a CAO report, which is a verbal report.
Yes, sorry, thanks, Chair. Just, I'll have a more in-depth report on it. That yesterday and I was swamped. So I have two items to add that I really want us to have a quick look at, and the one is just the save the date for the RPAC meeting on October 6th at 12 o'clock to October 8th, 2 p.m. That's in Peace River this year.
So the meeting is
It's a conference, yes. So we attended the one last year in Wainwright. And I think this is actually something really that I can recommend council attend. Is it's quite, especially since this is more focused on our area, that we don't lose focus in getting people, especially healthcare professionals, to our region. Sitting in the meeting last night with Galen, it's a big problem for Grimshaw to attract additional healthcare professionals, and I think it would be great if council can support that and get some healthcare professionals, especially for the South Bay. And then my last one is that it's actually a twofold one, and the one I haven't actually sprung on Charles yet, but and it might not be just Charles's, it would actually be, it would be, I think Gloria used it on the Long Lake Regional.
Brenda.
Oh, sorry, Brenda, and maybe just get some information for us on what circular materials have disclosed or engaged with them that's specifically related to the recycling that's going to start in October. And then if there's specific topics that you guys would like, just send it to me so that we can get that through to them, because they are coming as a delegation on, I can't remember, it's one of the council, April the 24th for some reason, April 11th, the 14th.
14?
April 14th, yes.
coming to
Circular materials, so they running the project on behalf of the province, and they're going to give some information, and if there's specific questions or information you would like addressed in the presentation from them, please send it to me so that we can get that to them when they present to us. That's my verbal report for
Okay, thanks, Eric. Any questions? What's the date of the RPAC conference again? October?
it's October 6th to 8th.
Yeah, this is first time in the north, so. Good that the southern committees will realize that the highway needs both ways. Okay, so if there's no questions for Darren's report, I've got a motion to acknowledge receipt of the verbal report. Councillor Declan, all in favor? It's carried. We've only got 6 minutes before our NPC meeting, so. We can run through quickly how long the report's gonna take, Charlie.
I can take all of 5 minutes here.
Well,
Where you
I'll
have
give you
it
6 minutes.
at?
Let's move to page 2 then to item 6.3.1, the DPW report. Take it away, Charles.
Yep, so just so council's aware, we're gonna have a bridge engineering RFP. Go out here, I was hoping to get it done a little earlier, but. It's a 3-year contract to look after all of our bridges, including up expired right now, so we've got no bridge engineer, but we don't have any pressing on the boats. And crack sealing as well is gonna come out for our asphalt roads. Dust control is going to be being prepared here, we're getting ready for it. The applications the deadline is April 30th. And I would just want to get council's feedback. Do you want to see the county sponsored calcium list again? since I've been here, I keep bringing it to you guys and. We just do where we're hauling, other than the one that we made a motion for a few months back for the intersections. Residents on Sunny Valley Road, which we're hauling there anyway, so.
I think unless you found a money trail back,
Yeah.
I don't think we can really look at it, like, in all
Yeah,
honesty, we do
100%.
where we're hauling and we do.
Yeah.
You know, Sunny Valley is a separate resource road or whatever we classed it, but like, it's just, I don't see the feasibility for us right now.
And that's why I
Unfortunately,
asked, because if it's something that you wanted to see, I put some time into it.
Unless there's changes that we need to look at.
And we're not getting any free calcium, so.
No, I just think that we're kind of in a little bit of adult taping mode, and, let's.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought, but I just. Wanted to have that discussion with you guys. I will also be bringing the gravel haul rates to you guys here if. I'm not at the next meeting, but the meeting after, likely. Just trying to get some information from the surrounding municipalities to see. Where we're at, if we're still on the high end or.
So do we still have a fuel surcharge in our policy for commenced, like for graders and gravel haul, water trucks? No.
We didn't, we took that out from the gravel haul ones.
I just, with the way the price of diesel is going up, maybe something that maybe brought.
Well, I'll bring that option to you guys. If.
And not just the gravel haul, but I mean, our, contract graders and.
No, sorry,
That's,
they're under contract, that's their set rate. Also, so phase 1 and 2 out, west of the office here. Those, a lot of those meter assemblies, I mean, they've been in there for a long time, so we've been going through and fixing them, not fixing them, but putting, new screens, PRVs, etc. in there, and that's all the budget for it's been going fairly well, so we've got a plumber in there doing that. One other thing that I didn't put on here that I've thought about this morning, and I can't say too much about it, but I went to a meeting with Alberta Transportation representatives for an upcoming highway project that they will be coming to present to council some information. It will be in camera. That's why I can't say a whole lot about what's going on. But just so that you have a heads up, there will be likely a fairly big project coming up in the near future. So
Twin the highway.
nothing like that.
When do they expect to have that presentation?
They weren't even sure at that point. It was just early on, just to get some feedback from us, administratively. Because there will be some resident impact, not so much for us, it is in the south end of the county.
Keep a bit more.
No, that's it. You got Dan sitting over my shoulder here.
Could you just update us a little bit on all the road closures that are happening? Is it just like such
Okay.
substantial snow clearing?
Yeah,
or-
so, yeah, you have been seeing a lot of those.
Yeah.
They had significant issue on the south boundary road with drifting. Everything kind of got froze in there, so it was, at one point, we were down to one lane. Now we've been pushing up the snow on the north side of the ditch, and I don't know if you guys have driven it, but I did. It is, there's a lot of snow there. A lot of it is taller than a pickup truck.
That's on the South Boundary Road?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was very, very bad. Like and it's no fault of the grader. He went back as far as he could, but there's only so much room that a grader could move it. So then they're just using some loaders and lifting it up. We just wanted to close the road, keep traffic safe, We didn't want, I mean, when you're going back and forth that many times, you can get complacent, so we didn't want any incidents at all, and yeah, it's going well. Lot easier to do it that way, we found, than and a little quicker too, so. That's the reason for those quotes.
Thanks, Charles.
Well,
Any other questions for Charles?
I've been having the same issue with my driveway.
no, me too. I'm down to about a pickup line.
Yeah, I'm down to one lane. It has been for some time.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a motion to accept the DPW report. Councillor Shug, all in favor?
Thank you, council.
Thanks, Charles. Okay, I'll recess our regular meeting and turn it over to Chair Declan for the MPC.
Thanks, Mary. We'll call the Municipal Planning Commission to order at 11:02.
Bless you.
Thank you. We go to the adoption of the agenda and amendments to the agenda. Seeing none, we have a motion to approve the agenda presented. Councillor Shug, all in favor? Carried. Move to the adoption of the minutes of the February 24th meeting, any errors or omissions? Seeing none, motion to approve the minutes is presented. Councillor Thies, all in favor? Carried. Now we'll move down to 4.0A1 DP 26-2603-03. Just for we need a motion to accept for information unless council has any questions. I'll move to accept the motion. Councillor Yasinski, all in favor? Carried. Okay, so 4.0B1 DP 26-08. Gail, you're going to present?
Yes, I will.
Gail.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay.
So on February 24th, 2026, the applicant proposed and provided payment for a temporary industrial camp located on the northeast of 191-1 west of the 6th. The camp is privately owned by Peace Country Ventures, who conducted logging operations on behalf of Mercer Peace River Pulp Limited. The camp will accommodate 40 workers and operate 24 hours a day. The camp began operating on February 17, 2026, and is scheduled to vacate the site on March 20th, 2026. The northeast of 191-1 west of the 6th is designated Crown Land District, and the proposed industrial camp is a discretionary use. The camp area will occupy an area of 120 meters or 394 feet squared and consists of our dormitories, a kitchen, common areas, parking and storage areas, generators, and areas for fuel, garbage, potable water, and a sewage treatment system. There is video surveillance and lighting on site. All operations on the site must meet Alberta Health guidelines. The camp is located 4.7 kilometers northeast of Notikewin River, 21 kilometers southwest of Manning town limits, and 23 kilometers east of North Star. The site has been cleared of timber and bush, and an existing berm surrounds the site. As no soil handling will occur, natural superficial drainage will be maintained. The applicant advises that they will not be providing stormwater retention ponds or other surface water management, as work will be completed under frozen conditions. Prior to spring breakup, the camp trailers and any associated infrastructure will be removed, and the site will be reclaimed and planted as part of the Mercer Reforestation Program in compliance with Forestry and Parks temporary field approval. The applicant has indicated there are no foreseeable impacts to adjacent lands during the operation of the camp. The applicant's use of county roads for this development is covered under an existing road use agreement between Mercer Peace River Pulp and the county. In addition to county roads, the applicant has indicated they will be using annual operating plan roads, or AOP roads, which have received regulatory approval by the Government of Alberta. The applicant is using a cistern and hauling service to provide potable water and water for firefighting purposes. Peace Country Ventures has a contained sewage treatment unit on site, waste transferred off site in accordance with an Alberta environmental permit. Solid waste is collected and hauled from the site to an approved county landfill. The proposed development, reviewed against the county's municipal development plan and land use bylaw, meets the intent of policies of section 6.3 for industrial development policies of the MDP and the regulations of section 1.2 for industrial camps. The application was circulated to referral agencies for their comment due to the camp already being located on the site at time of application and the short period of time the camp will be operating. A shorter response time from the referral agencies was requested. As of writing of this report, responses received from Alberta Energy Regulator, Holy Family Catholic Regional Division, and TELUS indicated they had no concerns. Alberta Municipal Affairs requested more information on the contained sewage treatment unit on site and stated there are requirements for work campsites to be equipped that has been approved by Municipal Affairs and approved by an engineer. The county's Director of Public Works indicated that all large volumes of water supply need to be coordinated with the county. Alberta Health Services responded and acknowledged that the camp is already in place and operating, but stated that the applicant should be reminded to apply for development permits in advance of setting up a works camp. It is recommended that the application for the location of an industrial work camp on a portion of the northeast of 191-1 west of the 6 be approved, subject to the 14 conditions outlined. So I have made recent changes to the conditions, so I'm not sure which ones you have in front of me, in front of you, I'm sorry. Application, I have added
They have
numbers.
the correct condition scale
Good, okay, good.
this morning.
So subject to 14 conditions then. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Is there any questions from council?
So, 13 conditions I have and one advisement, so.
14 on the screen there in front of you. Yeah, new one was sent this
the
morning.
other question was-
Yeah, number 7 was added to, in response to the county's request to coordinate water supply needs for hauling.
Okay,
Yeah, my question is more on where it is, because if you look at the site and surrounding lands, that's on page 1 of that. 4.7 kilometers northeast of Notikewin River, 21 kilometers southwest of Manning, and 23 kilometers east of North Star. I'm new to the area, but it doesn't sound right.
at least in the west end.
Just a minute, and I will just check what our mapping person provided to us.
And that's the reason.
Okay, the information she provided to us was that it was 77 kilometers northwest of Peace River town limits, 21 kilometers southwest of Manning town limits, 23 kilometers direction east of Highway 35, 23 kilometers east of North Star, 25 kilometers east of CNR Rail, and 22 kilometers southwest of Manning Airport, and 4.7 kilometers northeast of Notikewin River. So that is the 23 east of North Star. Yeah, the information that was provided by our mapping person indicated that this is where the camp is. So I don't have any further response for you.
But it is located on northeast of 191 west of the 6. So that I know.
Yes, definitely, yes.
Charles. Charles.
Good thing I didn't leave.
Go gadget Matt.
What is conflicting, right? It says,
Sorry, what was it, bro?
Northeast of 1.
Yep.
91.
Yep.
1. West of the 6.
Oh, 6.
Thank you.
I default with that. I know I've worked it here. So. Township 910, if you keep going west. For several miles, and then it's just a touch to the north. Half a mile of township 910, township road 910. like our road ends, then they're
Yeah.
way out there. So
For reference, do you want to give kind of the nearest township to us right now?
Just change all that east to west, because it's all west of Lone Star. West of the railroad.
So
Just,
Instead of being east, it's west. Change all of it.
Northeast of one. Cause what road are we on right now? Or how close are we to? What's the closest township to us right now?
to us right now, we're on 915.
Yeah, so it's 920, so just a little bit to the north of us, and then it should be far to the west, right?
Maybe you can-
So it should read west instead of east is what you're saying?
One tell time.
Where that red dot is where so this is North Star.
Oh, so
This
it's
is
west of
downtown.
North Star.
It is west of North Star right there.
Sorry about the directions.
so it's west of the start. Yeah.
So if it's 23 kilometers east, it'd be on the other side of the
Yeah.
river.
Yeah.
So we should probably amend that, right?
Well, it's not.
It's not.
It's not in the motion itself, it's just part of the
Just
report.
directed, so, right?
Yeah. She just sent this at 10 minutes to 9 this morning, so I'll make sure that she changes the preface of the memorandum.
I have one more question, and maybe it's irrelevant, but this application, the approvals from February 17th, March 20th, and we're March 10th today.
Obviously, it was put up without a.
It was put up without a permit. We were notified of its existence from forestries now that we have that connection following our December meetings. So they notified us, we got the applicant to put in forms, but it was already existing. So,
So it's.
yeah,
One of our discussions in all of this meeting to put in some sort of penalties for that.
Yeah.
going forward as well in my discussion with forestry and the health inspector, following some other permits, we will be meeting in the fall to compare the 3 sets of lists of camps that we're all aware of, because there are some that they were aware of that I wasn't, and that I was aware of that they weren't. So we're going to make sure that communication is flowing from the start of the fall. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions? Then the mayor to make a motion to approve this development permit DP.
I think you're gonna make that motion with 14 version.
Okay.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting at 11:15 a.m.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
You're back to Terry.
So we can resume our regular agenda, page 2, 6.61 is the planning of development, administrative update.
Yeah. So every month we give you these reports. In the month of February, I was gone for about 10 days, so Josh handled quite a few of these in my absence. So for development permits, 13 inquiries were received. One of those was by ISL, 12 were by CNL staff. Out of those, 6 applications developed, and then 2 permits have been approved. For subdivisions, we had 6 inquiries received by CNL staff, 4 by ISL as I was gone, for a total of 10 inquiries. One of those has resulted in an application. We have had no notices of decision last month for subdivision, and no subdivisions were endorsed because nobody met their requirements. Of course, ISL assists with most or all applications at some point with doing a review. Other matters to give you a little update on, just to let you know I haven't forgot, is I'm working on the land use bylaw contravention changes and the awareness campaign that was mentioned. I'm hoping to bring that back for the 24th meeting for a quick review from you guys, and we can polish it up for the 14th. I'm going to have Josh and ISL also go through it beforehand. Survey requirement changes and awareness campaign information is also in progress for around the same timeline. Hopefully we can get those back to you soon.
Thanks, Earl.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Busy.
Yeah, busy is good.
Okay, no questions, I'll give motion to go on receipt of the planning and development update, except for information. Councillor Reese, all in favor? Thank you, Pearl.
Perfect. Thank you kindly.
Okay, we can move down to ag services, item A, Blake. Join us. Decision requesting the hosting of the 2028 Ag Service Board Conference. So one more year, we have it tonight, as per the agreement. And if it's our turn in 2028.
With the option to extend the contract for 2028. In the memo there, Delta reached out to the fieldmen to see if they would want to extend. So that's why it's being put to council for the Ag Service Board to decide whether you guys want to host centrally in Edmonton or would you prefer to have it in Grand Prairie.
Have you heard anything back from the other field yet? They're all probably meeting.
Yeah, one fieldman kind of told me they think the vote's gonna end up like 8-5 for hosting in Grand Prairie, but don't know yet. Nothing's been official. So it's whatever you guys personally feel like. There's also the letter of, I guess, MD Greenview's support to host it centrally. It's kind of interesting they would rather hold it centrally because they're one of the largest funders of that evergreen park. They contribute more money to it than even County Grand Prairie does. And their preference is to not host it there and to host it where they can get some ministers to attend. From the last lady I talked to, she said Lethbridge is not offering flights to Grand Prairie anymore. So that's gonna offer, maybe they pick it up in 2028, nobody knows. So that's gonna provide some like headwind for people to travel from the south up to the north. So that's one thing to be concerned about. And then definitely ministers' time schedules, like it's hard for them to get away for an hour or two with travel, let alone take 2 or 3 days to drive up to Grand Prairie, right? And be tied down there. So we typically don't get the ministers showing up to those conferences. If that's important to you guys, you probably see them at RMA more frequently than you do at the Ag Service Board conference, but it could be a third time potentially in the year where you could meet and get in the minister's ear. That's one of the advantages to hosting it somewhere centrally. A number of years ago, there was talk about from the floor of the Ag Service Board conference about centralizing it, and it was kind of, nobody made an official motion to move it one way or the other, but the fieldmen did create a facility committee to look at standardizing hosting it in a central region. The people they kind of put on those committees were people that were against hosting it in the central, so they kind of haven't really been doing anything with it, in my opinion. But the Peace Region is looking for, I guess, just feedback on what you guys prefer. I wouldn't really take into account too much whether you want to be like on the winning side of the vote. It's a matter of just putting forward what your opinion is, right?
And to me, we gotta travel anyway, right? So it's either 3 hours or 2 hours or 6 hours. And you get a lot better attendance when it's centralized. I've noticed that. The venue, if they keep having it at the Delta, it's nice, your hotel is right there, you don't have to, Evergreen Park, you gotta drive from the hotel down to the park every day. Not a big deal, but it is an inconvenience.
Yeah, or ride the bus.
Or ride a shuttle if they have them, I don't know if they did last time.
Yeah, they did, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
But then you're tied there the whole day, so like if you
Yeah.
feel sick or want to take a break, you
I
can't.
prefer the central location myself. I mean, if they stick with the Delta, if they give them this deal, that's fine. I mean, they had it at a couple different places before when it was central, but I think it's all in one place. So.
It used to be at the Westin, was a popular choice. Fantasyland Hotel, it was a couple years in a row there.
That
Probably.
didn't work out so well because there was no rooms available there, so you still had to drive to the River Cree or whatever and get rooms and then drive.
Yeah, or across the road at the Best Western.
No.
They did the River Cree one year too, I believe.
I mean, the Delta's nice because even if you can't get rooms in the Delta, which make sure we do this time, but at least it's just across the street anyway. You know, start vehicles and driving.
I find it's kind of annoying. You're on the Gateway Boulevard, so you got 3-4 lanes to get across, and it's always hectic there.
We've got late change and then they can Ashworth.
But I put my recommendation there. Like it's totally up to you. I'd rather see it be centralized for all the reasons of cost savings and getting the ministers there, and then. But I'd recommend they explore maybe potential venues and at least do some cost comparison. If Delta is way cheaper, I wouldn't maybe jump ship if they're like quite a bit significantly cheaper. But I know a lot of people were interested in that DoubleTree one there. I think it's like the old Mayfield or whatever on 170th. Some people really like that because they have two huge hotels there. And apparently it has quite nice conference rooms. So some people want to look at that one. That's the one MD at Greenview is really interested in. But like I said, it sounds like it's not going to be sounds like it's going to be a 8 to 5. That's assuming you guys vote to centralize. It'll be 8 to 5. It's kind of roughly what I heard for keeping it in Grand Prairie, and it's a little confusing. You know, some people are bringing it to their board and getting an official motion on what the board wants. And then other people are just like, yeah, we discussed it. And then I kind of feel like we should do this. So I don't know, the fieldmen can kind of be a precarious bunch of times.
Well, I think the idea is to get the most attendance you can, so.
Yeah.
I think that's where central works the best.
So even having the speakers come in, which they have very good speakers, I mean, probably a lot better odds of getting them into Edmonton. Even if they agree to come to Grand Prairie, and we've seen that growing in the north, all of a sudden there's a snowstorm and people are canceling.
Well, in some years we bring speakers in from Saskatchewan. One guy was from Vancouver last time. So all of a sudden, if they can't get a flight to Grand Prairie and they got to fly to Edmonton and then rent a car or drive or take 2 or 3 flights, like fly to Edmonton, and then maybe Edmonton has one to Calgary or to Grand Prairie that'll line up on the right day. Well, they might just say, hey, that's too much of a pain in the ass. Like, take me off my speaker, or they'll charge a ridiculous amount of money. So as Grand Prairie is concerned, you might save money on the venue, but then you might add in all sorts of costs. And then the shuttle buses were really expensive last time and nobody liked them at all. Like that was pretty strong feedback of like, we hate the shuttle buses, right? Because a lot of the delegates are 65 to some of them 80 years old. Like they don't want to be tied to the NTRAC Center or the Evergreen Center for 8, 9, 12 hours without being able to go take a break, right? And then if you do go back to the hotel, you got to wait for a shuttle, or now you got to drive. And a lot of older people don't like driving in either dark or icy roads, right? So then they don't come, and then you get lower attendance and you risk losing money on the conference. Is my opinion. The other opinion of the Grand Prairie people that want to host it there, they think it's like an opportunity to showcase the region, but it's winter in January. It's dark for like 18 hours a day, right? You're not going to do anything. Everybody's tired. So it's have the summer tour, right? But it's one opinion.
I mean, this is an ag service board meeting, but as our board is all council, we can make that decision today. And is anybody opposed to having that centralized?
I agree. Central.
So I think
they do events at the Evergreen Park, and it is not it's not convenient.
Yeah, so don't put send a letter, I'll just send the recorded motion. We'll just copy and do an email. No point in sending them a letter.
Okay, so we'll get a motion and acknowledge that conference hosting request and say we agree with keeping it centralized in Edmonton.
Yep, that's yeah.
Okay, please make that motion. All in favor? Carried. Reading the next, in addition, item B was a farm family award.
Yeah, so we kind of passed this, I guess, at the last meeting. I feel like we've talked about the Farm Family Award more times in the last 3 months than we have since I've been here. I reached out to that Mark's Custom Fire Pit guy closer to Peace River just to, I don't know, get some quotes on signs, because the BMO signs I heard were like well over $1,000 from the Alberta societies that are going to do that. So I reached out to Mark and seen what he could come up with some ideas. He thinks he could build us a sign for $750, $800. So he kind of mocks them up on whatever computer software that is. I don't know if you can scroll down and see the pictures. First picture.
And how about those gate signs? Where do you get that from the Big North?
This gate sign thing here?
No.
That's from that Mark's Custom Fire Pit guy.
Oh, I thought just the fire pits were.
No, he does fire pits, benches, picnic tables. So the signs he's thinking $750, $800. So basically what that sign will be, because he sent me 2 options. So you'll see, I kind of like the one on the right better, the blue one.
Yeah.
And then you'll notice all the stuff on the top of the farm family. That's like the stuff that's inside our logo, kind of pulled out to whatever represent the County of Northern Lights a little bit. And then some wheat symbols on the side, and then the Farm Family Award 2026 in their name. So that sign will basically be made of steel, cut out, and then painted. And then on the back side, we'll put a layer of stainless steel so it don't rust. And then that'll allow you to like see the words really good with the silver contrast on whatever color you guys that want to paint it, whether it's black or like a dark green or a dark blue color, like the BMO awards. But that's one idea. And that sign will cost, like I said, $750 to $800. Picnic tables are $1350. There's like if you scroll down, maybe. So there's a picnic table there, and of course, this is just a generic one he's made before, but you could put basically whatever you want on there. And then there's a fire pit. The fire pits are $1,500, and then benches. Don't have a picture included of a bench, but it's basically got basically a steel frame and then a wood top and a wood back, kind of two 2x6s that are stained, kind of similar to the picnic table and clear finish. And those are about $1,000. So the reason why this guy's brought to you guys is, do you guys want to try to get a sign before the 17th to have something to kind of present at Napera? It's kind of why I'm doing this now, is, see if you can build it in the next 3 weeks. If not, I'll have to deliver it later. But the policy also had $1,000, so $1,000 to either get them to the other event or a gift. And some of the ones we've included here for options, but it's only $1,000. So if you guys elect to want to give them a fire pit, you're going to have to raise that budget amount to be adopted at the next ordinance meeting.
So,
With the gate, is that installed? Or
The gate sign,
it's just the sign?
it's just the sign, and then we give it to them and they can hang it wherever they want, whether they have a gate or a rail or a fence they want to hang it on. They might.
not one like this though.
The other thing is too, the Northern Ag Societies is still planning on hosting an event, so they'll probably recognize our people in 2027 or November, January of 2027, 2026. Last year they gave benches through their award, and they said, he assured me that they weren't going to do gate signs, because I would hate for us to buy a gate sign and then they go to this one and get another gate sign, and then it's kind of like, they got two of one thing. So their feedback was from everybody they kind of polled of the previous ones that they've given out so many gate signs, maybe they should try something different. So they did benches last year, and they're not sure. They're looking for sponsorship, so they're not sure whether they're doing benches or fire pits. So I'm thinking if we do gate signs, at least they won't get two of the same things. Plus a gate sign's only $750, $800.
Well, so what I was gonna say was, all the years we've done Farm Family Awards, every second year, it's always been gate signs, right? So
Yeah.
I think consistency would be good, and it's something they could hang in their gate, they could hang in the living
Shop, wherever they want.
Their shop, wherever they want, that's right. So, and it's within budget, plus, we're gonna buy tickets for them for the appreciation night, right?
Yeah.
So that'll kind of round out the $1,000 budget then, and
Yeah, or if the sign's $800, we can give them a check for $200 too, to cover some expenses when they go to the other one. Doesn't, however you guys want to do it, right?
so I would.
I love the gate sign.
We should give you, go ahead. He's probably gonna need some time to build it, obviously, right?
City's actually pretty slow right now, just kind of a slow season. Nobody's really thinking of fire pits with it being, -20 out, but I figured I would just get some designs over the weekend mocked up for you and kind of tell them to proceed. I don't know if there's anything else different you want on the sign. I'll just have to reach out to Michael Chucks and verify that's exactly what they want on the sign, kind of thing.
Well, I don't know what to do that. I think we designed it. And they
No, I want to make sure I get their proper farm name, how they want their farm name, whether they want like Lori and Dave Michael Chuck or Michael Chuck Farms or whatever it might be. Maybe they're not incorporated, so they want LTD there. Teresa said that policy with the $1,000 has never officially been confirmed, so passed, so that'll probably be at the ordinance meeting. So we'll probably need a motion saying like go ahead with up to $1,000 on the purchase of the gate sign, just in case it comes in at $867. There's room or whatever to be there. And then once that policy's in place, we probably don't need a motion further. Sure. Yeah, but it was $1,000 to go to the BMO Farm Family event.
Yeah,
If you guys find that,
outside the municipality, it says if held outside the municipality.
That's the new policy that hasn't been adopted yet. The old policy said $1,000 to go to the BMO Farm Family Award, check to cover expenses. So just because that policy hasn't been adopted yet, should probably have a official motion saying to go ahead and purchase this sign.
Okay,
And I should probably order it today, because then you'll have 5-ish weeks to get it done.
so that motion on the screen there should cover that, Doug.
Yep.
Okay, any questions, the motion? Okay, Brenda, Councillor Sinski authorizes $1,000 for the purchase of a gate sign for the Farm Family Village.
Yeah, to authorize up to $1,000.
Yeah. Should be less.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, thanks, Blake.
Yeah, that's all I had. Thanks, guys.
Okay, we can move down to board reports, comments from them. I think everybody submitted one, maybe done to them. I didn't. We never did. No, I. Really don't know else. I will get it. Okay. Okay, no comments, you got a motion to acknowledge receipt of board reports. Accept the information. Councillor Reese, all in favor, carried. Info package had 4 additions to it. Anything coming out of that? I guess in future, I mean, we've always had this, but if you see the info package ahead of time like we do, and if there's something you want pulled out, add it to the agenda, just let the administration know or myself know. And sometimes you'll see something in there, well, that should be on the agenda, right? I mean, most of it is, it's truly is just info. Okay, get a motion to accept it for information then. Councillor. Councillor, please, okay, all in favor? Open mic.
Are there any concrete objectives for the county in terms of economic development, and how will the training benefit the county?
Well, I think that's probably the reason we're taking the training, so we can establish some concrete objectives, right? And right now, like Caleb said, we always put it in our strategic plan, it's always a buzzword, but we don't really have any clear direction what that would be, so hopefully this will help us achieve that. I mean, I guess we'll wait and see, right?
Yeah, and I was just sort of curious about you're very Frank kind of explained this, but you're very proactive with the RMA, but you're not so much with the SFC. So you don't see the value in it.
Well, that's maybe a little bit too harsh to say we don't see any value there could be value, but is there, I mean, compared to RMA, there are 2 separate organizations. RMA is truly focused on rural Alberta, right?
Yes.
FCM is nationwide municipalities right from Toronto to Nampa, right? I mean, every municipality is part of that, so it's very huge. And really hard to kind of get a measurable value out of it. I mean, you talk to some municipalities, I know they said they went down east one year, and they come back with well, they didn't come back with a check, but I promised to give them $20,000 for some project they were looking at, and they received it, right? So they thought it was great, and that they would go every year based on that experience. But I mean, we've never had that personal experience of seeing anybody step up and help us with any projects. We tried one year when we were, I think it was in Halifax, right? We met with was Minister Soy at that time, and trying to get some funding for pushing rural water distribution. And so we had a big presentation we gave to them and put it on the side, said thanks, and that's good. And that was kind of the end of it, right? So I don't, maybe we're not doing a good enough job of advocating or lobbying, but so to say it has no value is probably a little unfair, but it's maybe just good enough value.
That's my words. That I guess I thought it might be a pipeline to the federal government.
Well, you would think it should be, right?
Yeah.
Because that's who they're representing as a federation, right? But, and not that we based our decision on it, but there has been Alberta municipalities have pulled out of membership. And we're still a member, right? So we'll still get all our correspondence, but some have actually ceased their membership. They just didn't see the value of it anymore. So maybe it's a east-west conflict we always seem to see federally, and with it.
Maybe if I can add something there,
Yeah.
Chair. So that's probably why council are looking more into going to the old, what's it,
CNN.
no, the munis one for Alberta munis. That's sort of more an urban focused one, so just to get that integration into what information is shared over there, so we can actually bring and maybe apply some of it to the rurals as well.
Okay, fair enough.
Because really, I mean, you think about what County Northern Lights might have in common with, say, the city of Vancouver or, Halifax, whatever. Yeah, we all have elected councils and we have planning, land planning and those kind of issues, but on different levels, so. And just because we're taking an absence this year doesn't mean we won't in the future if we see value in it.
Well, that's it for me.
That's it for you. Anybody else?
Jim, you have anything?
Yeah, on the agenda, I see that this nuclear thing is back on the table. Originally, when the plebiscite went out, it was the people didn't want the nuclear plant in this area, but the board says that they were supposed to gather more information. I've never seen any information. And I don't know, until anything is announced, and I've heard rumors that the nuclear is coming in the future. Well, maybe you guys know something we don't, and if you do, you should let us know what it is. So I just don't see why we'd be spending any money to go to any of these meetings at all. And they're gathering information. I don't think the board is discouraging the nuclear plant. I think they're promoting it.
Which board?
This board.
This council?
That's out gathering information. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Well, I just say, I mean, you kind of answered your question. You said the plebiscite, which was a non-binding plebiscite. The one question said residents wanted more information. So these types of conferences or sessions are absolutely where you learn more information.
But I don't see any of them. I don't see come from any meetings where there's any data going out to the membership or to the people. So what are we doing with it?
We have a dedicated page on our website.
You will release a lot of information on Facebook with all the information we receive. And also the last conference we attended was only last week. So I'm sure there will be more if you read the ward reports of the two councillors that attended. I know, Gary, you said you're still going to do your report, but it was only last week. You'll get some of the feedback, and that's why I haven't even my report also, because I've got almost 5 pages of information I would like to put into my report about the nuclear conference I did attend last week. So there will definitely be information coming.
Yeah, not everybody's on Facebook and all the rest of it.
It's also on our website.
It's on the website. So we come back to the same argument all the time, that we don't really get to cover the full public. What is your expectation? We put it out on so more people can see it then.
So I understood right from the start that whatever we say or do here makes absolutely no difference to the outcome of this whole thing. So why are we spending money on it?
Okay, but that's a different comment. I'm really trying to engage with the public here. So what do you feel is the best way that we give feedback from the attendance to this conference we attended for the nuclear information to the public? In your opinion, what do you think is the best way of putting that information out there?
Newsletter or whatever?
Newsletter, that's a good comment. So it's on our agenda in the ordinance meeting to look at what we can bring out. So that's definitely one of them that we're looking at again.
Ratepayers meeting?
The previous ratepayers meetings we had attendance of less than 10 people attending. So Yes, I hear what you're saying, but we're getting more hits off Facebook than we are getting out of the ratepayers meetings. I'm not saying we're not gonna have them. I'm just saying it's not the only best way of getting the information out there.
And so, Jim, you're absolutely right. The municipality has no authority on regulating or licensing this project, but we do have an obligation as the impact it'll have on municipalities. And I'm not just talking about the county of Northern Lights, I'm talking about the regional municipalities. Because if this does get approved, which again, because we have no, that's not our decision to make, there will be a huge impact on infrastructure, on population, on social economic issues. So that's why we want to keep ourselves involved in this, right? We don't want to all of a sudden, get caught flat-footed. So that's part of the reason that we attend, we form committees, and we're attending groups to learn more. So, Gloria, you had something you want to add?
No, I just want to say that we just need to be open-minded. I mean, yes, it's not our decision, but we need to be informed in all aspects. We just can't say, no, we don't want it. We need to be open-minded and go to meetings and then get all the information that we can, whether it's good or bad.
But if they ever do announce that it's gonna go ahead, I mean, they're not gonna announce it and the next day go to work.
No, for sure not.
There's all kinds of things that they have to get a hold of before they can even start. So that's, in my mind, that's when you start looking at all this stuff, not spending money on it now and then if it never doesn't ever go. What did we do? We just spent a bunch of money for nothing.
So the decision to go to this event has been tabled. My opinion that it should be paid for if we're gonna participate in this by the Energy Committee, which has got some money from the provincial government. I'm not in favor of the county spending money on this. So that's where it's at now. We've not agreed to go to this with county funds. It's going to the committee, don't fund the travel expense.
So we're not spending any money at all with it.
Well, not on this particular event, at this point, council might decide at the next meeting that they're going to pay for that. At this point, it's request to the committee to pay for it. They got a grant from the problem.
And just as a point of information, I attended the summit last week in Calgary, paid for it 100% myself. My registration, my travel, my accommodations. There's no municipal money involved in that, so. You only other question?
No, I have some comments.
Well, comments are okay.
Well, they're probably mixed up because I wrote them down as you guys were speaking. Number one. Terry, you were saying, when you go to these meetings, there seems to be a double standard. The federal government doesn't listen to the province doesn't listen to the councils. Well, you as councils do not listen to us as ratepayers. I've mentioned this before. We need to have ratepayers meetings. For several reasons. Every meeting you guys go to, your policy states, must be beneficial to the MD, not to you, not to me, to the MD. And as I've read all your reports, there are a bunch of meetings that are just an absolute waste of time. You said you're belt tightening, I don't see it. I don't know if any of you guys read the RCMP report that's in your package. You know what you have to do with that? They recommend that you have a public survey or a ratepayers meeting or an open session to get feedback from the community before you guys make a decision on what you're gonna tell the RCMP you wanna do. That's another thing you could put on the ratepayers meeting. Every bit of money that you spend in your policy says must be defendable to the ratepayers. So there, put it on the ratepayers meeting, print out the paper of that money you guys just give away willy-nilly at every one of these meetings that has no benefit to the county. And you ask us if that is beneficial to us. You defend giving away $300 here and $500 there and $4,000 there. Where else do we get to hold you guys accountable It's right in your policy. I mentioned it last time. You guys do not even follow your own policy. Why write them if you're not gonna follow them? Terry, I brought this up last year, brought it up several times. I see in your report, you went to a conference, which was kind of hard to understand because the AV wasn't working. Here, in this meeting, AV hasn't been working for years. And you ask people to come and to listen in online, fix the problem.
We are.
Yeah, years, it's taking years. I know you guys are waiting for this other one. So again, Jim brought this up. You guys have been going to these nuclear meetings and apparently something's going on that we, the ratepayers who are paying for you to go, are not getting back feedback. Caitlin in her report says we have to go this economic development or planning because nuclear is coming. What have you guys heard that we haven't heard? Basically, you guys are running like a little dictatorship. You do not ask us what we want. And you just, every meeting I've come to, you guys take money out of my pocket without my say so and give it to somebody else. That's a dictatorship when I have no control over my property on where it's gonna go that I have worked for. You just arbitrarily say, yeah, we got $100,000 a year, I don't know what it is for sure, in your budget that you guys just basically in my words would say just piss away every year. Belt tightening. You guys have lost millions of dollars from Mercer. Where's our belt tightening? The money that hasn't come in because of these oil leases that haven't paid. We've lost millions. Where's the belt tightening? I watched this, your last Public Works Department. You guys spent a whole bunch of time talking about reclassifying the roads. And you spent, I'm saying probably tens of thousands of dollars. I was driving down a road in Deadwood just the other day. It's a major road. The main road is right. Then you come to a 1.5 mile section on the main road has a sign says field access, no maintenance or low maintenance. You look on the map, it's marked as a field access road. It is one of the main thoroughfares from North Star to Deadwood. How that, who checked these things? And now I talked to them this morning. You guys are going back and reclassifying these because a whole bunch of them were just done without any input from the people who live in the area, know which roads are used and which ones aren't. Somebody's not paying attention. You have the policy on snowplow. We brought this up, December was a big month with snow. You have the policy where your main roads are snowplowed first, then your secondary roads, and then the access roads. Do you guys have to look at that? I have the map of the grader in my area. Nothing changed in the month of December. He did not go plow the main road, so I'm thinking he never plows the main roads first. They do 2 passes on each road instead of you're opening the road when there's a big snowplow. Put the grader down, the blade down and the wing down and do everybody one way and then turn around and do it back the other way. Common sense, but it's not being done. This little block is done, this little block done, this little block is done. The policy is not being followed. Who's ever in charge of this is not doing their job. If you look at the maps, they're grading roughly 16 to 20 miles a day, which is horrible. Those graders, when they're winging snow, should be able to do almost 100 kilometers a day, which means every 2 days they could do their whole beat once, one pass to clear the roads. I talked to the grader man who does the Weberville Road. He said when it was snowing heavy, he is snow blading at 20 kilometers an hour. So in a 10-hour day, he could do the 200 kilometers of one of our grader beats, one pass, 30 feet wide. Is nobody checking? Where's the foreman? You guys have to do something because we're just pissing money away, just willy-nilly. That's not getting the job done and it's not getting any better. I've talked to Gerard about this and hopefully things will change a little bit.
Well, I just want to comment again there, and I said to you in the meeting we had, is I will not compromise on any safety of any of my grader operators by plowing at that high speeds on roads that is snowed, and especially in December conditions we had, where a foot and more of snow, I will not approve that they speed up or do that. It's not, it would be reckless for us to do that if it is unsafe for the grader operators to do that. If they don't feel comfortable at plowing at high speeds, it is a part of the Occupational Health and Safety Act that you can refuse safe work or unsafe work. And I would rather have them operate in a safe condition and arrive alive at the evenings than not.
We're talking 10 miles an hour. That is not high speed. That's where a grader works efficiently.
In my opinion, if they feel it's unsafe to grade at a higher speed than what they operated, it is under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, it is considered as unsafe.
Okay, so this isn't for council to debate.
Right.
We don't direct.
So,
Yeah, so this is, you made your point. He'll take it to his department heads and
Yeah,
this is not a council issue.
So the last thing is, in one of your reports, in the previous one, you said, we shouldn't be following the herd. I watch all these councils, everybody's doing the same thing. You go to these meetings, you get your information and everybody does the same thing.
So just a minute, that was a quote that somebody else made. I just put it in there as a quote, right? But if you go back.
Yes, it was a quote.
It wasn't my.
No, that's one thing you heard and you thought it was important to share with everybody else, don't follow her. So again, I've read all of your reports, and as Jim said, we are not getting the information. Each one of the reports, I could write them. I went to this meeting, it was a great meeting, we had this speaker, we went for lunch, wonderful meeting, I'd love to go again. No information. Why don't you put in your report one or two things you actually learned at that meeting so that I can learn it too? Share with me the information you learned at the meeting, not that you just went to a meeting. Anytime you write a book report in school, you don't just read the book, it was a great book. You write down what happened in the book, what happened in your meeting, what did you learn, what did you bring back to council, and what did you bring back to me, the ratepayer, that will make my life better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dan, you're good then? Okay, so we have in-camera session coming up, but maybe we'll make for lunch. Brenda, you said you have to leave? Lunch isn't here yet, Teresa?
No, but it will be here.
So we could maybe get through that one. What time do you have to leave? At 1. So we could get through that first one. No, you're still here. Oh, decision for delegations, there is no decisions, or just information presentations, so.
Could I just say one more thing? When these reports are made, there's some people that are making these reports, could they use bigger font in them so we can read them?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna bring that. Thank you, Caitlin and Gloria. The font in your reports is so tiny when it comes up on the screen. It's really hard to read.
I just try to not make it so it's 10 pages long, that's all.
I'd rather have a lot.
I put a lot of stuff in my report, so I just don't wanna cut it off, but
Yeah.
I can definitely make it bigger if that's.
Just a
your request.
little bit.
14 blocks.
For sure.
Thanks.
Sorry, I try to just not make it 30 pages long, because then people aren't gonna read it, right? That's
Okay.
fine.
Thank you.
So thank you for attending. We're gonna go in camera quickly here and break for lunch. What?
I get a motion to go to camera.
Not yet, I'll listen to it. Okay, make a motion to go in camera. All in favor?